Alright KTC, this one might be a little bit long, but I am going to hopefully get through it as quick as possible. It's been a little while since I've done these videos, so I apologize for that. I will hit the staples of the Strava Leaderboard, actually 2 weeks of Strava Leaderboard, but I also want to spend a lot of time talking about swimming today, talking about swimming technique, show some videos of me, of some of the best swimmers in the world, break those down a little bit for you. I had a couple of you asking, Corey, what does the perfect stroke look like? So, and then say, can you show me, show us you swim? And by no means is mine the perfect stroke. And actually, even when I show you the best swimmers in the world, you're gonna also look at them and go, well, that doesn't look perfect either. And that'll definitely be a key takeaway, is that there are best practices in terms of swimming, but there is no one perfect way. And that was part of, fed back to me when we were doing some of the video and watching it back going, gosh, how do we all do the same thing so differently? And that is the reality. So we will keep working on that, but hopefully I'll show you some videos again that may reinforce some things that we've been talking about, as well as I want to dig into the next couple of weeks here in training. It's starting to become important what we do in the pool, as I mentioned this morning. So I kind of want to elaborate on that a little bit, where I want to take the program, how you can take these general workouts and hopefully make them specific to you, your ability, energy systems, physiology, etc. So there's a little bit of background I want to talk about in that respect, and hopefully that will give you more of a high-level picture of where we're looking to take the swim program in the next couple of months, which has been taking up a little bit of my time. So I will be doing a lot more of the coaching, the instructional part through these videos. So please, if you want to get more information on these, if you want more context to what we're doing in the pool or what we're doing in the program overall, make sure to subscribe to this, like the channel, or hit the notification bell so that you get notified. And hopefully you can get more context to actually why we're doing what we're doing and the direction and how to train smarter, not harder. That's what it's all about. I'm very limited with the amount of time on deck prior to workout, plus a lot of you come late. Stop coming late. You miss, you're missing out. I will say you will not be as effective if you miss some of the key elements that I talk about that aren't on the board. I try to circle back to them, but I don't always necessarily do it, and it's annoying. There's your guilt trip for the day. So let's start off with, actually, let's do the Strava thing really quickly here. Basically, Brad, Vanessa, and Jason, congratulations. You guys are dominating the leaderboard. Crushed it last week. Brad's still putting in huge miles. Then Vanessa looked like you brought up, and Jason, pretty much same, different order on total distance. And yep, same different order, longest activity. I was able to take a screenshot so I get 2 weeks back here. Oh, did I delete? Shoot, where'd it go? I might have closed it. I did this video already. Basically, it was pretty much the same. Brad, then I think Jason, then Vanessa. Dustin, you made the total distance, and then Lindsay had a showing on the longest activity. So that was 2 weeks ago. Keep this video as short as possible because I have a lot to talk about here on the swimming. We'll just leave it at that. I will say aerobic endurance, incredibly important. Might want to start building that, so use that leaderboard to motivate. Make sure you stay in the lower aerobic zone. You can't put in 18 hours any higher than really putting the majority of your work down in those easier intensities. So make sure you are disciplined to do that. So looking at my stroke, breaking it down, first thing, this is streamlined. Now, I will say my head's probably looking up just a little bit too much, but you can't see my ears. And when I show you the front on, you're going to see very little exposure for that frontal drag, which is what you want. So if the water's hitting your forehead, put it down a little more. I said I could even bring mine down. This video was actually from a number of years ago, and I've been working on, I think I've made some change. I'm as bad as you. I think I've changed. But there are definitely elements, head position down, my turnover I've been working on a lot, my power application more in the front end of the stroke I've been working on a lot. So, you know, as you watch me swim here, you can keep that in mind. Right now I have a very slow, glidey stroke, at least right now. And that was purposeful. That's what I'll say anyway. So let's highlight that high elbow setup. I can confidently say I do that well. So this is that internal rotation right at the front of the stroke. You can see my paddle. I was notorious for flexing my wrist. That's another thing I'm working on. I still do it, especially when I sprint. And you can see I'm probably flexing a little bit too much, where if I was flatter, I might even hold more water. Sometimes it's camera angles though too that are deceiving, but that would be me grabbing the water high. You can see my lats firing. I'm in a nice strong position. So I'm still flat right as I'm entering this power phase, and the power as I roll away. So I'm liking that. On the far side, you can see that wrist flexion even more. Again, I would try to fix that. I had been trying to fix that, I should say, but still setting up quite well. In terms of stroke timing, obviously you can see very clearly I have a catch-up timing. And when I'm sprinting, I would pick that up a little bit. But as I breathe here, so see as I'm breathing, that arm stays out there. It is starting to set up, but it really hasn't gotten into this power phase here until now I'm flat. Whereas a lot of you, your pull is all the way at the finish when you're flat. So in terms of taking your time, letting the body roll back over, then getting the power through, now that's what I'm looking for. So it's being patient on the side. Head position, I have been working on putting my head down more, and I would say I'm looking forward a little bit too much. It does cause quite a bit of flexion in my spine, or extension, sorry, in my spine here, which I've had way less lower back issues with my head down, being a little more neutral through the spine. So that's, you know, even just for back health, that's played a big role. But even body position, it's helped out. Breathing, you can see one eye still down under the water. So that's how low you can breathe. And that ensures that I maintain a nice stable body position. Yeah, definitely looking up quite a bit. Kick timing, you'll be able to see the kick on the side closest to you right now. So my left side, you can see it just setting up here, firing. So it's that strong beat firing now on the closest side. That's kicking the hips over. So hips come over and arm comes through. And it's pretty much all happening at the same time. But that's that strong beat pull. Other side, strong, yeah, it's coming in a little later on that other side. I don't like that one as well. Yeah, it's not too bad. But yeah, bam. I'll do sound effects too. So, what else? Yeah, I think that's all I wanted to go over on the side. So looking front on, So I don't really have anything here above the water. Again, you can see the exposure, frontal drag. All right, so in terms of arm position, again, if I was to draw a straight line through the shoulders down to the elbow, that's really what we want. So we don't want the elbow up here or way down here. I could probably do a little better on that roll and setup. It's kind of hard to time properly. Sometimes it's, again, camera angle a bit. But you can definitely see the 90-degree bend in the elbow. The fingertips, you know, if midline was here, I'm just out from it a bit. Fingertips can come to midline, but not crossing. And if my hand was, you know, out here a little bit, just off the side of the body, that's fine too. You're still going to be activating the lats pretty well. So I like that. You can see fingers a little bit apart. Actually, my thumb's better on that one. Sometimes my thumb splits apart. But obviously that was a nice arm pull. Head's not perfect. It is rocking a little bit back and forth. And I could probably clean that up a little bit. Other than that, yeah, that's all I'll talk about from the front. So looking at, I'll say, the best women's distance freestyler in the world. One thing you can pick out right away, look at that high elbow setup. Bam. So that's that initial internal rotation. Actually looking at her front on, and feel free, you can go down these YouTube rabbit holes if you like. Some stuff's good, some stuff's not. Feel free, you can ask me about my opinion on any of it, whether you think my opinion is good or bad. But yeah, you can see, you know, all the power up at the front end of her stroke. She finishes, but you can see how she actually finishes. I'm not going to say short, but there's definitely no waiting around at the finish. She wants to get back to this power phase, pushes through to, you know, maybe here, and then it's power off and recovery time. The other thing you're going to notice is the difference in her kick. Let's see if it comes back. So you can see this one leg kicking, this leg not. Until it does, and then it'll stop. So, you know, no consistent rhythm. Very little kick during her swim. Again, this is how unimportant the kick is for propulsion in distance swimming. Now, distance or a sprinter would be completely different, and you'd see these legs going crazy. Or if you watch Katie's last 100, you're going to see her legs go crazy because there's nothing left to save them for. But for 1,400 meters, they're pretty much one leg's doing the work. Every once in a while, the other two will turn on. You'll also notice she always breathes to the same side, has this little gallop. And she's just able to generate so much power. So, you know, not symmetrical, only kicking on one side from time to time. And that's how imperfection can go super fast. So you can even look at some of these girls down here. I mean, you're looking at some of the best swimmers in the world, and well, she's got a windmill stroke. Maybe she'd be as fast if I mean, this technique is definitely not ideal, but you can train anything. So, feel free, play around on YouTube, check out these swimmers, but hopefully that reinforces some of the technical aspects that we've discussed. Now, just like there's no perfect way to swim, there is no perfect way to train as well, and that's the fun thing about being a coach is, well, you're all one big experiment, and for you as an athlete, that should be your only objective, is experimenting on yourself, what works, what doesn't work, and you have to pay attention or learn these methodologies or skills to determine what's working for you or what not. Every one of you responds differently to training. So high intensity intervals, some of you will respond well to, some of you won't respond well to. Long, slow aerobic endurance, some of you again will respond really well, some of you won't respond as well, or whatever combination of training that we're doing. Again, everyone is different. And there are so many physiological differences, whether that be muscle fiber types, energy system development, aerobic system versus anaerobic system, and this is kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today. Whether that be power, you know, muscle size and development, you name it, you're all different. Genetics. So in terms of taking a generic programming or a program and making it individualized takes effort on your part as well. The effort that I'm going to put in will be hopefully giving you some of the background information that you can make better informed decisions about how to swim workouts. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is it also depends how you show up in terms of what you might be able to do in the pool that day. And I often ask many of you how you're feeling. I'm not trying to be nice. It may come across that way. No, I really do care how you're feeling. But more for the purpose of how are we going to, or what can I expect to see or get out of you in the pool? What do I expect to see happen in the pool? And depending on your response, it may change how I direct you to swim the workout. And again, I'm hoping you will be disciplined enough to take that advice and try it. Again, it may be right, it may be wrong, but unless you experiment and take note, then you'll never know. But hopefully some of this is based on training principles, just like you base your stroke on best practices in terms of mechanics and force application, etc., etc. We can take what we've learned in the realm of exercise physiology and biomechanics and training principles and apply those best practices. But again, you may need to test and tweak based on your own personal needs. So one of the things that we've been focused on is some speed work, and not just to push up the top end, but I also like to see what happens when you swim fast. And there's a number of things that I can learn through that. I'm going to keep this very simple, and we'll dig into it more as I move through kind of some of these series of videos here. But essentially, you have two energy systems that provide you the energy to swim. You have the anaerobic system, which actually has two systems, but we'll just talk about the anaerobic system and the aerobic system. Completely different ways of creating energy, have totally different byproducts from that energy creation process. They are always active and intermingling with each other, and all of you use those energy systems different. I'll give you an example from this morning doing these sets of 50s. What I was looking for was to see how fast you could swim those 50s. What is the top end speed that you have, and how is that different from your regular steady state swim? Now, I told you to swim easy and gave you a steady state swim speed, but trust me, I know what you typically swim up and down the pool for forever at. And the swimmers that can have a larger differential in their top end speed basically signifies to me it's probably because they have a more developed anaerobic system, or a less developed aerobic system. So it could be either one. Either you're really good anaerobically, or you just really haven't developed the aerobic system yet, that the anaerobic is providing a lot more energy. And in an effort from 30 seconds to up to 2 minutes, which is definitely within the realm of a 50-meter effort, then the stronger or more energy that you're getting from the anaerobic system, theoretically the faster you should be in that 50. Now, technique does come into play in other aspects like that, but just swimmer to swimmer, if all things were the same, that would be my assumption. The other thing that I would be looking at, especially when we got to 4 in a row, is how much are you failing? And if you are failing a lot, again, it's going to indicate that anaerobic system, yeah, you're very well developed there. And because of the byproducts created through metabolizing through that anaerobic system, that impedes your ability to do work over and over and over again. So the bigger the failure, the more I can say, okay, you're very anaerobically developed. Or you're under aerobically developed. So if you didn't see any drop off, pretty much your aerobic system is either buffering all that lactate and using it for energy that's being created through that anaerobic process, or you just have a very undertrained anaerobic system, and you're swimming these aerobic and you're always aerobic. So if you felt an extreme burn, if you felt like you were swimming through cement, especially as you started stringing more and more together, you're probably a little more anaerobically dominant, and we need to really focus on aerobic work. If you were working as hard as you could and you still felt great, and you did 450s in a row all out hard as you could and you didn't see any failure, then congratulations, your aerobic system is phenomenal. Or, as I said, your anaerobic is undertrained, and that might be an area you want to focus on. Now, that being said, as we get into more distance swimming, the idea is that we want to be as aerobically as possible. So the more aerobic development we have, the more you're going to be able to hold a higher speed for longer. Now, you're probably going to see a decrease in your 50 and maybe 100 meter times, but the 400 plus times should improve. And again, through testing, that's what we're looking to achieve. And again, if you're one of those swimmers where, man, my arms were on fire this morning, then we need a lot more aerobic work. This is where it gets fun, because aerobic can be trained with high intensity intervals as well. So you either need to be doing some long, slow distance stuff, and most of you don't swim slow enough, where you have fast and then you have threshold. So we want to go way down here, and I'm going to be forcing some of you to go way down onto that easy aerobic end, hopefully using some heart rate data to support. Definitely rate of perceived exertion and the clock is going to be a big indicator. And then of course we can do some shorter, higher intensity stuff as well. And again, some swimmers will respond better to higher intensity stuff for aerobic development. Some will be the long, slow distance stuff. But that'll be kind of the progression where we're going to move away from the high-end, longer speed sets. There will still be anaerobic work in there because it is still important, but you're going to see less and less of it and more aerobic work, or going more towards that direction. And again, when it comes to triathlon swimming, that should be the biggest bang for your buck. So for today, as I said, we did some 50s. We are going to keep some technique in there, more for recovery, because we got a pretty hard nights on Wednesdays if you are showing up to those bike nights. And then we're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff on Saturdays. Again, we're starting with some polarized stuff right now. I still want to get a handle of that high-end, low-end, kind of create that profile for you. Again, I have most of you figured out just up here, but we're going to keep playing with that. Next week we are going to do a CTS test again, or CSS test again. There were some anomalies I want to account for from the last test set, plus I want to add in an additional 50 meters to test that high-end anaerobic speed for you and get some values on that. So we are going to be hitting that next week. If you can make sure that you make next week and show up as fresh and ready to go as you can on Tuesday, that would be the best setup. Give you the best results. Again, we got some more technique, a little more force and feel, so more advanced technical aspects as opposed to just your mechanics and stroke timing. And then we're going to finish off our last real push of speed here, or anaerobic efforts, on this Saturday. From there, we're going to be really starting to stretch it out. So we have some aerobic 800s, again, some technique, feel work. This is actually more of an easier week. And then we're going to do a long swim out of some thousands, again, building that aerobic. So you're going to see more and more moving into that aerobic end as we get closer and closer to the cherry blossom. We will be doing some pacing stuff, but again, the main focus will be for all you highly developed anaerobic people. We got to make you aerobic as much as possible before race day. For all you super aerobic people, probably not going to achieve too much anaerobic building work, but I still want you to make that a focus. There are still aspects of speed that are outside of just energy production, like the neuromuscular system, that this work will have benefit to. But as I said, you're already on a good track in terms of swimming long distance for as fast as possible. So hopefully that brings some context to, or a high level view of what we're looking to accomplish in the pool as a direction. It may morph and change as we go depending on how you do. I highly encourage you. Consistency is key. If you're doing 2 a week, that is the bare minimum, probably to get incrementally better. If you're doing 3, that's pretty good, especially with the work on Saturday. Considering that you have bikes and runs and stuff in there, awesome. If you really are hitting a plateau, you may need to get 4 or 5 swims in a week, and that'll make the difference. So at bare minimum, try to be consistent to the KTC workouts. Stay with the program. If you're just sporadically showing up, you're definitely not getting the full benefit, but I understand if that's the case. So that will be my only caveat. If you need to ever jump into another session, if you missed the 6 a.m. and you want to come to noon, drop me a line. We do have the capacity lately to be able to do that. So that is my very long 26 minutes made up for the last couple of weeks here. But again, hopefully that helps you out with some of the freestyle technique work, the direction on the training plan, and congratulations everybody on the leaderboard. That the volume now is going to start to matter, so if you want to use that as a motivator, please do. Just make sure you keep the majority of your work in that zone 1, 2, maybe a little in 3 there, so lower aerobic intensities, and you're going to see your distance freestyling or distance anything really improve just from some of those concepts that I talked about today. So until next time, we will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.